Well, hello there, my name is LovesBuds and welcome to round 1 of season 1 of my F1 2012 career. So at the moment I'm just cycling through looking at all the objectives, and guess which team we're going for? We're going for the Williams. Some people from my channel may have already known this, I have written in the comments section, but this is who I'm starting my career with, the Williams team. I did promise someone I would, and I'm carrying through that promise. So here we are, round 1, Albert Park. I'm going to hand you over to Anthony Davidson, who's going to take you through a hot lap of Melbourne.
Okay, a lap of Albert Park in Melbourne, Australia. Coming around the last corner to start your lap. Open up the DRS if in qualifying or in the racing situation. Down the main straight towards turn 1. 175 miles an hour. Look for the left-hand marker boards at the 100-metre board. Brake here, down into third. Flick the car in, not too much curb on the inside or on the exit. DRS open once again, down the back straight towards turn 3. A great overtaking opportunity come race day into this corner. Third gear, down into second as well for the apex, and then up through the gears again, third and into fourth on the exit. Not too much exit curb there. Hold the car full throttle around turn 5, feed the car through the barriers. 160 miles an hour, brake in a straight line under the trees. The shadow of the trees makes it tough there. Don't take too much curb on the exit of turn 6 itself as it winds round towards turn 9. Brake at the 100-metre board, bumpy into this corner. Second gear. Don't let the back get away from you too much as you get close to the wall on the exit towards turn 11. Up through the gears, DRS, 180 miles an hour. Get close to the wall, flick the car in, sacrifice the speed on the left to open up the right and get a nice exit onto the back straight towards turn 13. Another potential overtaking spot coming up here, down through the gears from 7th into 3rd. Not too much exit curb, you don't want to waste your traction here and keep the car in a straight line before turn 14. The last fast corner on the track. Turn 15, watch out for that left front locking up. Get the car nice and straight again before the exit. Into the last corner again. Open up the DRS and a final blast of curves as well. Sees you to the start-finish line once more.
Okay, and that's how you're supposed to do it. I made it through to Q2, only just, but couldn't progress any higher than 17th. 1 second was just a bit too much to ask, unfortunately. Mainly because I lost it all in the 3rd sector. A lot of people have reported this, that the AI is supremely fast in the last sector for some reason. So I'm waiting to see if that'll be patched or fixed, or if that is generally how they want it to be. But either way, I believe I can probably find a little bit more time in a faster car, even though the Williams is capable of winning the race, or winning a race. Especially if it's in Barcelona with Maldonado. But still, didn't beat our teammate who qualified in 13th. If you want to see the qualifying lap, it is on my channel. So yeah, let's move on to the race. This is a new thing, race fuel strategy. You can have it cautious, normal or aggressive. I think I'm going for the normal. Basically cautious being you have more fuel than you need, all the way down to aggressive, which is maybe a little bit less than you need. So you need to manage your fuel properly. I'm going for the normal, so it shouldn't be too hard. So let's get this race underway. Starting 17th with Ricciardo and Byrne. Getting quite a good start, using a bit of curves. Yeah, I had to slow down a bit there, otherwise I would have gone back into the back of Raikkonen, probably got a penalty or something. So I had a car in the gravel there, I don't know who that was, couldn't quite see, but I'm slotted right behind Maldonado, up to 12 now. This is where they expect me to finish. Just slowing down nicely before I end up going to the back of him, locking up the front right and hitting Perez. So a pretty eventful couple of corners there. Made up a few positions to 8th now. Behind Vettel, and this is the point where they usually stream away and leave me behind, leading a train of cars. First 2 sectors aren't too bad. It's when the 3rd sector comes along that they pull away as usual. As I said, they are supremely fast in the last sector, so unfortunately I do lose a bit of ground. So it ends up being a case of, can I keep these guys behind me? and seeing as they're more aggressive this year than 2011, that's going to be a bit tougher than usual, especially with my driving styles. So already, look at them run away. I mean, coming out of those corners, I probably wasn't in the best possible line. I may have been, I don't know, but I didn't get enough drive out of there to be on the back of Vettel, but do catch up a little bit in this last couple of corners, but that's about it. Apart from that, the rest of the sector I am well behind on time. So let's use the rest of our curves. We finished lap 1 of 15. The shortest length I can do in career. Oh, rode a bit the curb there, threw my back end out a bit. So there's 2 positions down already. That was not good. Unless I catch up to them now and retake the positions, I may lose hope of getting back up to 8th. But yes, as I was saying, yeah, 25% is the shortest distance you can do in race. You can go up to all the way to 100%, but unfortunately I do not have the time or the upload speeds to be doing a full race video, because otherwise this alone will take me about 6 odd hours to upload, maybe 5 if I'm lucky. So if you can just imagine a 100% race, that would take me probably about 24 hours or so. I don't know the maths exactly, but it's going to be, that would be mental. But yeah, I think half an hour's just enough to hold a lot of people's attention. A lot of my subscribers seem to be happy with that, so yeah, we'll carry on with that. I've had to edit a few more bits out of it so I can keep the video not too long, but hopefully that means there's more action in the video rather than you just seeing a couple of laps of nothing much going on. Although you may see that in some of my videos anyway during the race, but I've sort of cut out. I used to do a best practice lap and my best qualifying lap in my 2011 career. I've dropped them both now, but as I say, if you do want to see the qualifying laps, they will be on my channel. And those qualifying laps, the reason that they are on my channel is to make sure my subscribers know where my videos are, because I usually put links in the description and annotations on the screen. So I'm doing best as I can to direct all the people to the Phaser Athletics channel and the Phaser network in general. Seems to be going quite well. Seems to be picking up quite a few more views than I did on my own channel, so I'm really happy with that. But back to the race. Grosjean's already increased the gap to 4 seconds, and Di Resto is like half a second behind me, so now I need to keep him behind if I'm going to have any chance of staying in 12th or meet an objective of 12th. That's not going to help, especially if I spin like that. I think Di Resto hit me, I can't actually remember. I haven't got the sound turned up very high, but I believe he might have done. Yeah, he did, if I remember correctly, because Massa's overtaken him now. It's going to come right up behind me. I don't know what mix I had him before. I probably had it in rich then if I'm turned it down to standard. Massa's apparently going to pit within the next 5 laps, and I think pretty much most people are. I've started on the prime tyre for this race, the what I believe is the medium tyre, and I'll be moving on to the option tyre, the yellow walled soft tyre, after my pit stop. Sort of a different strategy to all the rest. All the rest of pretty much all of them have started on the option tyre. I don't know about the ones behind me, but certainly the top 10 would have had to if they set their best qualifying lap on it. Because the rules are, you cannot change your tyres, you must use the tyre you qualified on if you've managed to get into Q3 and set a time. So that if your tyres have been worn, you may have a little bit of a disadvantage at the start compared to the others until you get to your pit stop. But Anyway, yeah, Massa's all over the back of me. Just need to keep him behind. A bit slower than I could have been through this sector, but they are much faster than me anyway. I'm just concentrating on keeping the guy behind me. So, as we end another lap, lap 5. Need to protect myself now, turn my mixture up to rich, use the rest of my curves because Massa is going to try and come flying past with the DRS open and his curves as well. You see the gap is still growing massively to Grosjean. I very much doubt I'll be able to catch up to him again. I'm just not quite fast enough yet. But to be fair, this is only my first race in this game, so not too bad. I've played a little bit of online game. Same problems really with online, with people ramming each other and that. There are some genuine people out there who are struggling how to drive, but you can usually tell who they are and who the actual rammers are. So either way, it's online bumper car carnage. But still, it's quite enjoyable when you do find a group of people who decide to race properly. I mean, I was in Spa, in the game of course, not in real life, and I had some nice wheel-to-wheel racing with a stranger I'd never met before, never played before. Just a randomer online. He was incredibly fair. I went on the inside, he was on the outside. He stuck to the side of me. It was real wheel-to-wheel racing, and we didn't take each other off. He managed to stay on the track, and he didn't ram me or try and push me off or anything, which is really cool. I really like that. Yeah, it's a shame there isn't more people like that out there. But anyway, what are we doing now? Massa's got past. No? Yeah, it is Massa. I was just looking at the names there, they changed suddenly. But yep, another one passed. I've got to be keep trying to stay on top of things if I'm to meet my objective of 12th. Oh yeah, Maldonado's at the back. I didn't mention that. They seem to have got his personality in this game because he seems to be over aggressive. Oh, by the way, that was Perez. I think he had a problem. I think it was must have lost a bit of his wing or something because there's a bit of debris on the track a couple of corners ago that we went past, and so that must have been the aftermath of that. Oh, and there I go off. Just a bit too much coming out of there, made me lose the grip and go straight into the wall there. Luckily that wasn't too fatal. In real life that would probably have put me out of the race, but seeing as it's just a game, I only lost a bit of my front wing, probably a bit of the end plate there. But yeah, I have no idea what I was talking about before. Now I've lost my thought since that crash, since that losing part of my wing. Most people are pitting now as the first round of pits. Their teammates will be in the next lap. Hopefully I'll be able to overtake them with my sort of they're more worn prime tyres, but they're more up to temperature than the other guys will be. But still, in third sector they all just stream away again. Managed to get past Buttons though, so it's that's one less position to worry about so far. Yeah, it's the trouble is when I'm going to come into the pits, because what the other guys have been doing behind me is catching up to me at some hell of a rate. And unfortunately, if they are too close, they will overtake me while I am in the pits. So I'll have to keep an eye on that one. I just remembered what I was talking about before the old front wing incident. I was talking about my teammate Maldonado. He is definitely rather overly aggressive in this game, and he is actually sitting at the back, I think, because he crashed on the first couple of laps or hit someone or whatever he did, and he's at the back. So yeah, things not going too well for my teammate so far. I think that's maybe going to be the theme of the season. maybe I've got to do what Bruno Senna's doing in real life and just remaining a bit consistent while Maldonado's crashing off everywhere, trying to kill himself. But I wonder if I can repeat his success in Spain. I like the Catalonia track. I think it's a really nice track to drive on. It's got everything. So we'll see if we can maybe repeat the success there. Hopefully I'll be able to find a decent setup as well. I mean, as this game's new, there's not a lot of setups going around on the internet at the moment, so just been playing around a little bit. Nothing's really worked out for me too much. I found a couple of setups that I'm sort of using. They have helped a little bit, but well, to be fair, this is a Williams. I don't expect to be winning every single race, so I'm kind of happy that I'm sort of midfield. I'm not quite happy that I can't qualify very well, but generally I kind of like where I am. I try and set a difficulty level that is sort of realistic in terms of where the car would finish. So and maybe, like, if I pushed it a bit further, I could probably get a few places above where I'm expected. That's where I try and set my difficulty level. I mean, I'm on Legend at the moment, so hopefully I can keep up at this pace. I mean, unless I fall back behind people like the Caterhams and that, then I probably will keep the difficulty on Legend, because at least then it will push you, or at least push me, to do the best I can possibly do. I mean, you've got to be 100% on these corners every single time in this difficulty mode, because I'm quite convinced that this Legend mode is harder, a lot harder than 2011's mode, which as most of you will probably know that anyway through experience of the game. But I like that. I mean, I kind of want a difficulty level that's between Professional and Legend, because the gap between those two is quite substantial. It's probably at least 2 or 3 seconds or so, and me being me, I'm in the middle of that most of the time in terms of my pace. So I'm really hoping they would. I was really hoping they'd sort of add a few more difficulty levels, sort of change it around a bit, but they haven't. They've just made everything a bit harder, which, okay, I can get used to it. But we're still having fun with this game, which is the main thing. So it looks like it's going to be a nice career. Hopefully I won't make too many mistakes. Yes, change of nose there. That's cost me a few seconds. It says I'm going to rejoin 12th, but hopefully I can get out here on 11th. And yes, they've introduced the penalty for crossing the white line coming out the pit exit, which is this is a nice addition, because I've always tried to stay within the line anyway. Ah, Di Resta's back in 12th. Let's see if we can keep it behind. We have about 5 and 3/4 laps to go. I'm on the option tyre, so technically that means I should kind of be faster, but unfortunately it doesn't. The only time I would be faster is in the first 2 sectors. I mean, again, the 3rd sector's a problem. But we see what we can do. If we can catch up, that would be marvellous. But also, as I say, you have to be 100% on all these corners in this difficulty. But yeah, all you can do is keep going, keep trying, and eventually you get there. It's all about practice, really. I've spent countless hours on 2011, and I'm going to spend countless more hours on this game, plus all the previous experience of other F1 games with a controller, so I'm quite used to flinging it around, not without a steering wheel. That sounds good, doesn't it? Without a steering wheel. But yeah, I'm quite used to the controller. I believe I'm quite smooth I mean, obviously, some of my movements you can tell that I'm using the controller, but I've sort of almost mastered the steering now. Almost. I'm never gonna say I'm perfect because I'm not. I'm not the best driver out there. I know people who can go a lot faster than me, but I always try and do better. And I suppose that's all you can do, really. But DeResta's back for more. Let's see if I can keep him behind. I try not to make too many mistakes if I can, because I really want to meet my objective, especially because this race has been really quite hard. And well, actually you'll see in the next race that was even harder, because next race, Malaysia, that was a bitch, I can tell you. I won't give too much away. I won't give anything away, really. You'll just have to wait and see for that one. As Hamilton sets the fastest lap, 1:28. See, look at my fastest lap, a 1:32 so far. See if I can improve that when I come around this corner. No, not if I go wide. I wonder what our time is at the moment. I mean, that's opened the door to DeResta, who's probably got DRS on us. In our slipstream, I've got no more curves left, and now I have, but surprisingly, DeResta didn't make a move. See, my best laps are currently at 1:31.9. I know I can do slightly better, but those guys at the front doing 1:28s, I mean, geez, that's just like qualifying laps. But still, as I say, it's down to practice. Keep going. As for the game itself, I believe there are a few glitches with the game. Hopefully they'll do something about it. They'll actually start patching a few things. I mean, they won't be patching it forever, because they usually, you know, put 1 or 2 patches on the F1 games, and then, you know, any problems after that, you just have to put up with them, which is kind of annoying. But there you go. I know there is one problem which we'll see in Malaysia. About parc fermé rules. Now, I do like the fact that parc fermé rules are in. What I don't like is the fact that you can't change it if the race is wet and you had a dry qualifying. Now, I'm not 100% sure, but I believe you can change your setup if there is a sudden downpour and it starts raining after you've had a dry qualifying session. Just like you can change your tyres. I mean, they wouldn't force you to go on slicks, and there goes DeResta going side by side. Bit of a knock. So I can get a bit out of sorts. Trying to get up the inside, but out braking myself, locking up the front right and going off into the grass and gravel, which has deposited a load of lovely bits of stone on my tyres, which is only just cleared away now. That's another thing, the debris stays on a bit longer as well. So I just need to keep Schumacher behind now, otherwise I'm not going to meet my objective, which is going to be a shame. But I know what happens. You'll just have to wait and see. But anyway, the Singapore Grand Prix was on this weekend. Another win for Sebastian Vettel. Only his second win this year. Quite different from last year, that's for sure. Jenson Button finished in second, and Fernando Alonso racking up the points still in third. Paul DeResta had his best finish of his career in fourth. Nothing much else to say apart from the back marker teams. Marussia have moved above Caterham because Timo Glock finished in 12th, and how the points work at that end of the scale, because none of the teams have any points, those back 3 teams. It just works on the single best finish in a race, which so far is Timo Glock, because he made it up to 12th. So that's a really good result for them, considering they move up to 10th in the constructors table, which will provide them with a good amount of bonuses for next season if they can maintain that position. So that's good for them, nice to see. Especially in a car that doesn't have KERS, and the Caterham does. That's a pretty big leap forward. Because if you don't have KERS on your car, you're losing about half a second to a second a lap. So for them to get that result is absolutely amazing. Schumacher crashed into the back of Jean-Eric Vergne in the Toro Rosso, which was rather silly of him. I think he sort of claimed there was something wrong with the car, but unfortunately he has got himself a 10-place grid penalty for the next race in Japan, because the stewards have decided otherwise, I believe. But this is a very disappointing day for Lewis Hamilton as well. Retired from a gearbox failure. I reckon he was easily going to win that race, because he said he was cruising. He was maintaining the gap to Vettel, and if he needed to push, he would have pushed. If his car didn't fail on him, then he probably would have won. And McLaren probably would be on top of the constructors table by now if they didn't have so many reliability issues in the last few races. Well, Schumacher's having a look now. And I've outbraked myself again on this corner. Just opened the door to him, and now I'm in 13th. One place under my objective, so this is not good. We're on the final lap. Let's try and push everything we have to try and get back onto him. Braking a little bit too early there, which doesn't help whatsoever. But yes, nothing else going on, I don't think. I left it a bit late to talk about the Singapore Grand Prix. I usually talk about it in a little bit more detail than this, but still, there you go. Lewis Hamilton has redeemed himself. He's won the race. But as I say, if McLaren didn't have so many reliability issues lately, they probably would be leading the Constructors' Championship, which is a real shame, because I really want them to win the Constructors. It's been a long time since they won. I believe it's back in 98 or something, the last one, the Constructors. Late 90s, I'm sure it is. But still, there you go. So we come round, we finish in 13th. Not quite the result I was hoping for, but a lot better considering that the AI is a lot faster than me, especially in Sector 3. So we failed to finish 12th or above, but we did beat Pastor Maldonado, who finished 15th. So no points for Williams, but I did beat my teammate, which is the main thing at the moment. So I could be on my way to being the #1 driver. Kamui Kobayashi has finished 3rd on the podium, so that's a good result for him. Bit of a mixed field there, a little bit, not too bad. And there's the Drivers' Championship standings. Obviously no change from the race standings because it's the first race. See, Lewis Hamilton up there with 25 points. There's the Constructors' Championship. Quickly, I don't know what I was doing there, but anyway, yeah, just having a quick look through. I mean, I haven't really looked at all this before, so just having a look. It's nice that they got the nation's flag of the teams as well. You can see where all these teams have come from. I didn't realise Caterham was actually what's that, Malaysian? It's a Malaysian flag, it must be. So that's quite interesting to see. But yeah, coming to the end of this now. Disappointed, very disappointed, but what can you do? So all that remains for me to say is goodbye, and join me next time for round 2, Malaysia. I'll see you then.